Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins in April 1945, 2 weeks before Germany's surrender. A deserter soldier, Willie Harold, is running down a country road, followed by a truckload of jubilant Germans. With a band playing in the back, the captain, drinking schnapps, shoots the fleeing criminal. Luck favors Harold, who reaches a forest where the truck cannot pass, and hides from his pursuers. Later, at an abandoned train station, he finds a blanket and makes himself a harness. There he meets another exhausted deserter, but with a weapon, and after some rest, they continue their journey. At night they reach a farm. On a tree near it hangs a sign and a man, as looting is punishable by death. The sign doesn't stop them there, and they reach a large barn, where they begin to steal chicken eggs. The hens start a ruckus, and the keeper wakes up. Harold tells his companion to kill the keeper, but the keeper runs away. The watchman gets up and runs to Harold, who pushes him with his head on the bricks. Then Harold sees the peasants awakened by the noise and using pitchforks to kill his comrade. Terrified, the former private runs away, and heads along the railroad tracks. He passes a car where he finds a box of apples, and a Luftwaffe captain's uniform. He hastily puts on the uniform, which fits him perfectly, except for the pants, which are a little too big. Harold makes a little scene pretending to be an officer, when another deserter, Private Freydig, meets him, and tells him that he has lost his battalion. Freydig asks to come under Harold's command. Harold asks him to repair the car and pull it out of the mud. The soldier accepts the rules of the game and sets to work. Harold acts like a real commander, especially since he has no other choice. When the soldier pulls the car out, they drive together to the city. On the way, the captain discreetly throws away old clothes, so that his subordinate does not suspect anything. Then they arrive at the tavern. The locals are not very friendly to the soldiers. The war is almost lost, and the soldiers are deserting and robbing the locals. Harold uses the dislike to his advantage, and starts asking them to report cases of desertion to get a reward from the government. This finds a warm reception from the locals, so much so that the innkeeper gives them food, but the Freydig's intemperance while eating causes the innkeeper to suspect that they are deserters forced to starve. Only the captain's restraint helps keep the deception alive. In the night, the locals bring in a thief they have caught and ask to take care of him. Unperturbed, Harold puts a bullet in his head. In the morning, they leave for the farm where Harold stole the eggs. There he finds 3 soldiers who escaped from the battlefield, stealing into the ranch owner's house and having a party. Harold immediately demands that they pull out their papers in an authoritative manner. When Harold checks the papers, one of the soldiers, Lamb, begins to suspect him, because he is wearing pants that are too big. Harold tries to keep calm and labels them as traitors who have fled the battlefield, but like Freydig, they say they have been separated from their unit and asked to join Captain Harold. He gladly accepts them, and says he has a special mission for them. After loading food supplies, the team continues their journey. They meet 2 soldiers towing an anti-aircraft gun, and they too join the group due to a lack of alternatives. When the car runs out of fuel, the soldiers have to drag it on a leash along with the cannon. This situation causes an escalation of personal animosity. Soon after, a fascist tractor from the military police arrives. The soldiers check documents, ready to open fire if the soldiers disobey. Harold must use his considerable acting skills to convince the inspector that his authority is superior to his. He says that Führer himself has sent him to the rear to monitor the situation. Taking the thugs' lies as true, the military takes them to prison camps. There, he meets the officer who shot Harold on the run, but who does not recognize him in his new uniform. The officer explains to the captain that keeping prisoners alive at such a difficult time for the country is a luxury they can no longer afford. Since the Führer has personally delegated Harold, he could help them solve the problem by bypassing bureaucracy and legal red tape. The camp governor jokingly shows him the prisoners' barracks and introduces him to the situation, but during interrogations, his subordinates beat the prisoners, and take the less valuable items from the others. Private Freydig thinks this is wrong, and asks the captain to stop the chaos, but Harold points out that this is now the fate of the prisoners. At the same time, the commander talks to Hansen, the chief court officer, without whom the prisoners cannot be dealt with. The officer asks him to give one of the prisoners a package from the daughter. Schutt, of course, opens it and keeps the gift to himself. Harold informs Schutt that he will hold a military trial based on which prisoners can be killed. Some have already been killed, 2 have been shot, and 3 have been beaten to death. This infuriates the justice officer, who informs his superiors of Harold's brutality. But the latter cleverly manage to avoid charges, saying that the prisoners attacked the officer during interrogation. As the situation evolves dangerously, the superiors can check Harold's credentials, and discover the truth. Schutt, who wants to finish everything quickly in the camp, calls his superiors to get Gestapo's approval, to allow Captain Harold to hold a simplified court-martial, only if the latter agrees to take full responsibility for the administration. After Harold receives permission, the justice officer receives a call from above and can do nothing but watch as Harold kills hundreds of innocents. The soldiers at the camp are already in full swing and set about finishing the thing quickly. The prisoners dig a large hole at the edge of the woods. Schutt leads a group of 30 prisoners out of the barracks, who march singing even as they are driven into the hole. Harold says to bring the anti-aircraft gun and use it, tearing everyone. Realizing what he has done, Harold wants to scream but keeps his cool. He will also be killed if the deception is exposed. Only Freydig does not participate in the execution. After a brief dinner, the firing squad returns to their duties, while Freydig remains in the background. Even though the pit is full of corpses, groans of wounded people are still heard, and the captain orders Freydig to personally put them out of their misery. Freydig obeys and does so reluctantly. In a single day, 90 prisoners were shot. In the dining hall, the troops celebrate a job well done and praise Captain Harold. The guests enjoy a performance by 2 prisoner artists, whose repertoire of toilet humor is off the charts. They also sing the battle hymn of brotherhood with the officers. Because of the alcohol, the soldiers begin to make a mess, and in the process, Harold makes small talk with the comedians. He wants to know why these talented guys are in prison, but they do not confess. Then he proposes to play a game, insinuating that they are all thieves, including himself. For example, he says he stole a captain's uniform. Taking the veiled confession as a joke, the guests discover that the comedian has robbed a dead comrade. Schutt gets enraged, and after that, the brawl among the soldiers continues outside. The ringleaders go to beat up the camp prisoners who refuse to bury the grave. The officer notices the beating and orders it to stop, but the subjugate does not obey. To avoid losing authority in front of the camp commander, Harold has to improvise. First, he points his gun near the ear of the guilty soldier, temporarily stunning him. Then he lines them up and ties them up with a rope, and draws his gun. When the prisoners escape, he shoots one of them. The others drag the fallen comrade, and Harold hands the gun to one of the comedians, and tells him to do the same. The latter kills the second prisoner, and when the second comedian's turn comes, the latter shoots himself instead of obeying the order. The captain waits for the comedian to pick up the gun and finish shooting the others. As Harold reloads his weapon, the target drags 3 bodies behind him. Schutt's wife grabs the weapon and starts shooting. Everyone present joins in the shooting, and a dozen bullets are lodged in the exhausted prisoner. In the morning, Freydig sees that Harold's pants are too long, evidently not made for his height, but says nothing. Considering the circumstances, this is extremely dangerous. Later, Schutt arrives with a team to search the place for deserters. The captain presents himself to them without pants, which does not prevent him from giving a rousing speech. While the squad is away, Harold's squad is partying and taunting the prisoners. When Schutt returns to camp, he sees the deserted camp, with bodies piled on the ground. The drunken men and the captain leave the kitchen, but then the house blows up, along with all those who did not make it out of the area in time. British artillery begins to operate on German territory. After the air raid, staggering, Harold lifts his hat and coat and orders the survivors to form up and leave this place. Along with the deserting soldiers, a couple of prisoners also survived, and the captain orders them to find military uniforms. He tells that only one barrage post remains of this camp, while everything else is shattered. Then we see the camp in the present day. The group goes into town in a car with a sign that reads, Harold's Rapid Trial. After a run through the streets, they stop at the town hall, where a white flag with the words welcome is flying. The local government welcomes the allies who have arrived in town. The soldiers immediately execute the mayor, who did not make it out the door in time. They commandeer the supplies and head for the best house in town. Here the deserters throw a wild party, but a woman arrives and ruins everything. One of Harold's loyal soldiers brazenly steals the captain's favorite bridesmaid. The showdown soon follows. As soon as the lovebirds lock up, the other men grab the soldier from the room and drag him into the bathroom, where they punish him. Next, Harold lectures the soldier who dared to question who is the alpha male. He issues a death sentence in the courtyard, and the soldier is stripped naked and told to flee. The poor soldier only takes a few steps before a volley of rifles breaks his sinful life. After that, Harold and his men throw an even more lavish party, singing and dancing, half-naked girls, waterfalls of alcohol. In the morning, after being drunk, they are found by the military police and arrested. Wanting to pretend to be a captain, Harold tries to eat his papers, but the policeman manages to save the crucial piece, saying in German letters that he is an ordinary soldier. Despite his many crimes, the judge offers him probation instead of the death penalty, because he has shown himself to be an intelligent fellow, with the attitude and cunning equal to a real officer. Instead of being hanged, he is sent to the front lines, which Harold willingly accepts. Nevertheless, a little later, he manages to escape with the help of a rope tied to a sheet. The former captain wanders through a forest littered with skeletons. After the war, he was arrested, and a year and a half later, he was executed along with his 6 accomplices for war crimes, when he was only 21 years old. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.